everyone. I'm He Ling Yi from Peking University and here as an exchange student in the Department of Law. First, I want to apologize to you all that maybe my presentation will take about 6 minutes. Okay, let's start. First, I want to mention that my topic is buildings on the Bund in Shanghai, China. And first of all, I will discuss the history of Shanghai International Settlement, and then touch on the history of Bund, and finally describe the role and history of the buildings. First, let's look at the glossary. Settlement, 植民地, Treaty Port, 刺绣国, the First Opium War, 阿汉戦争, Concession, 疎開国民党, 国民党, Communist, 共産党, Works, 党, Consulate, 領事館, Masonic, Malin, Freemason, Reinforced Concrete, 鉄筋コンクリート, Metallurgy, 冶金, Mahogany, シダン, Comprador, Biped. And here is the flag of Shanghai International Settlement. And Shanghai International Settlement was originally a purely British settlement, and it was also one of the 5 treaty ports at the end of Opium War in 1842. And then American and French involvement following close on the heels. And here is a map of the Shanghai International Settlement with foreign concessions. The British concession is in blue, and French concession and to the south in faded red, and American concession to the north in faded orange, and Chinese part of the city is to the south in faded yellow. And as more foreign power entered into treaty relation with China, their nationals also become a part of administration to the settlement, but it was always remained a predominantly British affair. Until in the year 1941, until the Japanese troops stormed in immediately following the attack on Pearl Harbor, and the Shanghai International Settlement ends up. Here is a picture of Hongkou, Japanese town. And in 1945, most of the Westerners not actively involved in the civil war in China has led the city. And in 1949, with the defeat of Kuomintang, the city was occupied by communist troops and came under control of Mayor of Shanghai. And then I bring up the point of what's the Bund. Here's a picture of the Bund in 1928. And the Bund is always refers to the waterfront area in central Shanghai. And it is also one of the most famous tourist destinations in Shanghai. And the building's heights are restricted in this area. Here is a list of when the main buildings were built in Shanghai. And the Shanghai Bund has many historic buildings lining the river, and once housed many banks and trading houses from the United States, France, the United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, the Netherlands, and Belgium. The building boom at the end of 19th century and the beginning of 20th century has led Shanghai Bund becoming a major financial central in the East Asia. And let's see some of the history of the typical buildings on the Bund. On the left is Asian oil building built in 1916, and it is a 7-story reinforced concrete building, and with both Baroque and classic touches. And in 1917, it was acquired by the Asiatic Petroleum Company, a British company, and after 1950, it was occupied by the Shanghai Metallurgy Design Institute, and a real estate management company, a steel company, and finally in 1996 by the China Pacific Insurance Company. And at the right is Shanghai Club, built in 1910, and it was an exclusive men's club catering to the elite of Shanghai. And the most famous feature of it is the longest bar in the world, made by mahogany. It's 34 meters on the long side and 11.9 meters on short end of letter air. The membership was open to merchants, high-ranking police, military, and compradors. And here is the customs house. It was built in 1927, an 8-story building, and it still remains a customs house today. And it is also seen as one of the symbols of Shanghai and Bund, and the clock here will ring every 15 minutes during the daytime. And here's the entrance of it. And finally, for convenience, if you want to travel to Shanghai, let's know how to go to the Bund. You can take subway line 2 or line 10 and get off at East Nanjing Road and pay a 5-minute walk towards the east, and you will see the very beautiful scenery here. And I suggest you better go there at evening to catch the best night view in Shanghai. Here are my references. Thank you very much for listening.